Hello and welcome to episode 25 of these here RPG tutorials. Let me lead off by saying it's still a little bit congested. Apologies if there's any clearing of throat or whatnot. I'll try to keep it to a minimum. But yeah, so today we are going to add the very beginnings of our mob skill pipeline, and then we're going to refactor some code, which is actually probably going to take about half the time, give or take. In order to reuse codes and skills, and also I found a bug with the stats, and we need to solve that in this tutorial. So without further ado, if you guys could hit that like button, subscribe, comment, do all those things. It really does help me out. I really do appreciate it, and I'm very thankful. Currently, to get the channel monetized, we just got to get more watch time, so that's more people come and view it, the better that we're gonna do there. So thank you very much in advance, and let's get going. So first, let's fix the bug, because I don't want to bury that lead. So what's happening is in unit and everywhere else, we have these stats and we put them in our constructor, but then when we create a character, it's not getting those new stats set. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to create a new function and put these in here, and it's going to be set base stats. Right, so that's where we're going to start. So set base stats. We'll go right here. Public virtual void set base stats, and that will take nothing in. Literally, we're just going to come up here. We're going to grab our stats, put them in set base stats, and we'll do that for the children classes in a minute. And then we're going to take this function and we're going to put it in set stats. Definition. You know what? I named it wrong. We're gonna change the name real fast so these are next to each other. It's going to be set stats base. That way they stay right next to each other. Okay, sorry. We're going to fix that. So first we clear the stats, then we set the base stats, then we add the special stats. So that's a one-piece bit there. We're going to copy this, and we got to put it into our three children class, which are Warrior, Mage, and Imp. So let's find it. Units, Heroes, Mage. Paste. We got to override. Instead of this, we're going to do this, and then we also need to set the stats, which we weren't doing. So that change we have to make for each individual. We'll probably just copy it like this. Go to the warrior. And then we use the warrior stats. And we go to the imp. We do the same thing. Okay. That takes care of most of the bug. The last bit that we need is when we re-enter. So this is all just keeping our stats straight. They weren't actually perfectly correct yet. So this fixes things. And then what we need to do is we need to go into level, and we need to, right when the hero comes in, which is set hero or something like that. Set hero. Yep. Then we need to say hero dot set stats. And then the other place that I put it, and I don't think this actually solved the bug, but it's going to be a good choice, I think, long term, is on resurrect. For right now, let's just call set stats. So we'll recalculate their stats on resurrect as well. I don't know that that's necessary, but I think it's a good thing overall. Oh no, set stats was already there. It was... What did I change in resurrect? Hold on, I thought I changed something in resurrect. Maybe I didn't. Maybe I just looked at it. Yeah, I just looked at it. I'm sorry. It needs to be in there. It was already in there. Apologies. I knew I looked at it. Clearly, I thought I changed it, but I guess I didn't. Okay, so that will fix our stat issue. Now our character should have the proper amount of health based on the formulas that we put in earlier. You can change those to be whatever you want, but at least they'll be acting the way we expect them to. I'm going to build it, make sure I don't have any errors. And then we will get to refactoring skill next. So in skill, and we'll be doing some work in Fireball as well, because that's what we're going to be doing first. So skill has a little bit of refactoring, not tons and tons here. We need to add targeting AI. So that's just an add. That's not a refactor, but let's do it while we're here. Public virtual unit targeting AI. That will pass in the packet. And return null. Okay, we are going to add a function called set enemies, and then we're going to refactor that in to the rest of everything. So we'll go here, we'll say public virtual list unit set enemies. That will also take the packet. And the code we get for that is right here in Fireball. So we're just going to take this. We're going to put it here. Instead of that, we're going to just return it. And then here, we're going to do the same thing for heroes. So it's a hero, your enemies are the mobs, and if you're not a hero, then your enemies are the heroes. Make sense? Okay. So we're going to take our set enemy now, and we are going to go to Fireball, and we are going to put it here. We already cut the other one. Whoops. A little clumsy today. Sorry, guys. Okay, so we have that to get our enemies list. We're going to also put that into charge. Skills, warrior, charge. So we have this. We're going to remove it. Paste that in. Makes it nice and simple to get that done. I think that is it for that. Now we have to get our game ready to handle. Oh no, we have one more. We have check if usable in skill. We have one more. That's going to enable us to. This is not a refactor. This is a new portion. This is for specifically for mobs to be able to find out if they're allowed to use the skill. So public virtual void. Virtual bool. Check if usable. And then that's going to take our packet in. And by default, it will be returned false. Because if it doesn't meet the whatever we set it to, or we haven't set check if usable, we want it to default to not usable. We need to force ourselves to write our check if usable each time. All right. In Fireball, which is going to be our first skill that we do. 1 second. It's not on here. Sweet. Okay. So we're going to have a few things to do here. We are going to refactor this to handle both the mobs AI and the character AI. To do that, we need to figure out the targeting. So let's add our override of our targeting function here. So public override unit. There we go. I guess it just didn't want to come up. Weird. That's fine. Should have just kept typing. Okay. What are we trying to get for our targeting? What is an acceptable target? Well, it's something that's in a slot that the mob is able to get in range of. which we already have that, right? So we can return that list. We'll use that. And then it is one of those slots having an enemy in it. That is what we're doing there. It didn't come up because we've got an error here. Oh, it just doesn't return. That's fine. Just so it be quiet. Be's quiet. Okay. So the first thing we need to do is we need to set the enemies. So we need to know what our enemies is. And we want this to be usable independent of this. So I understand this will be duplicated in here. So just understand. I see that. I understand that. We would also refactor out the other code eventually, the targeting non-AI. Eventually. We're not going to do that right now, but we could. We also need to know the slots, like I said. So again, I understand that's going to be doubled up. But this function needs to be able to be used independently later for more powerful AI. So just bear with me there. I understand. Hopefully you understand that I understand. Yeah. Okay, so we're going to say 4, and then you can pick which one you loop first, but I'm going to do the targetables. So int I equals 0, I less than targetable slots dot count I plus plus. And then directly inside there, we're going to say 4, and j equals 0, j less than enemies dot count j plus plus. Okay. So what are we looking for in here? Well, we're looking for if. So this is just the targeting, mind you. So this is not completely usable. This is targeting. So I want you to think about that when we're doing this. This is just a piece of whether it can be used. So if the targeting returns a mob, that's part of what is considered, is it usable? The other part would be, is it on cooldown, for instance? And there could be lots of other things, right? You could say if there's an orc in the enemies list, that could be part of it, maybe. I mean, you could say if there's 3 mobs within range, right? You can do lots of things. In this case, what we're doing is we're returning just a single mob, and that's going to be part of our equation, okay? So how do we do that? Well, we say, it's very similar to one of these. It's not the same thing, but we're going to copy paste to start with. So this is checking mobs against temp slots. Well, we don't have temp slots. We have targetable slots, and we have enemy slots. So we can just use these targetable slots. Maybe that's it. Targetable slots I dot current loc. Nope. No. Targetable slot. No. Target slots dot pose dot x. Sorry. Target slots dot pose dot x, and then we copy that here. Pose dot y. So if the enemy is in a slot that we come across, then let's just target it. The first one we come across. Is this the greatest AI ever? No. But we're working one step at a time. We'll get more complicated as things go. Right now I'm trying to make sure that enemies J. Sorry, that's wrong. Right now I'm trying to make sure that we have a basic idea of what we're doing for our AI, and then we can expand it. So, all right, that's the AI targeting. We're going to use that in check if usable. So, public override bool check if usable. We are going to remove the base. We're going to return false at the bottom. Just if we find nothing, then it will return false. And in here, what we're going to say is if cooldown remaining is less than or equal to 0, unit target equals targeting AI packet if target not equal null, return true. Or yes, return true, because this is just a bool. Okay, so we only have 2 conditions here that need to be met, and then it returns true. That's great. That'll give us enough. The reason that targeting is its own function, though, is because we need to make sure that it does run when we're doing targeting. So what I've done is I've added an if statement around a lot of it. It's around everything except for the done something. So if all the way down to here, hero, owner dot is hero. Then we do this. If not, so else, we do targeting. So if you remember, targeting returns a unit though. So one thing we need to do is we need to come up here and we need to say unit target equals null. And then down at the bottom now, we need to account for the target before we create the projectile. So we were creating the projectile here, but we won't be in a minute. So if target not equal null, we do that, right? And it won't be this, it'll be target. So what that means here is that we need to remove these. And say target equals enemies J. So now it'll do this. It'll break when it finds an enemy. It'll come down here. It's basically the same code. The difference is, though, we can also say target equals targeting AI packet. And that will also return us a target for the AI version. So now we put it into the same thing. We keep the one piece of code. We don't want two identical pieces of code if we can help it, because that will lead to bugs if we're not careful. And then, so another thing that we have is we have this untargeting, but we don't need to do this untargeting for the mob. It will never show currently that happened. So what happens here is we need to account for the removal of the targeting highlights, right? So what we need to do is we just need to come in here and you say, let's give me this. We'll say if what? Well, if target not equal null, because it used to be done something, but done something is set here now. So right now, if we found a target, then we'll do the code that we used to have. And that will suffice there. And so now we can remove this and flip the flag. So if done something, finish skill. Hopefully that'll make sense. I know this is kind of going roundabout a little bit, but this code will give us a much cleaner ability to update things. So we know we need to go in here if we need to change what the mob AI is doing. We want to check our requirements. We go here. You know, this probably gets refactored out at some point, but this handles our manual targeting. So now it's all wrapped down into one piece. And then what we need to do is we need to go to mobs and get the pipeline working. So mobs, right there, right in front of my face. Couldn't see it, of course. And then this piece of code is relatively easy. So first let's comment a little better in here. So if skill usable, then use it. Else if in not mob. So else if target in range attack it. Else move, right? Or move closer. So that's what we're going for. So right now we have attack and moving. What we don't have is using a skill. So let's say skill, temp skill equals null. And then let's set this up. So first thing we want to do is see if we have a skill available. How do we do that? We check and see if temp skill is not equal null. Okay, and then we say inside here, very, very simple, temp skill dot targeting. We'll give it its offset and packet. And then we do the same thing as we do here. And the last thing we have to do is figure out whether we have a skill that it can be used. So for anti equals 0, oh no, just it has to be j. We got I up here. A happy j. There we go. J equals 0, j less than skills dot count, j plus plus. Sorry about the alarm there. Yeah, got derailed. Okay, let me fix it. So if skills j dot check if usable packet temp skill dot temp skill equals skills j break. Okay, so if we find any skill that they can use, we're just going to use it. Better AI, just to give you an idea, would be to take in the situation the character is in and produce how good each ability is, and then use the best one. So for instance, let's say that the mob has a heal spell and a damage spell. And the heal spell would do 25% of its health and healing, then you would probably flag the usefulness of that spell as some function of, I mean, it's probably more than 25% useful total, but it's like probably like a 40 or 50% scalar. You find some way to create a scalar for what that's worth. But then a damaging skill would kill the mob or kill the unit. Well, killing the unit is better than getting a 25% heal. Killing a unit might be either 100% or 200% usefulness. So also, like, let's say that the heal does 25% of your total health, but you are down at 10% of your total health. It could be that you use a scalar that says, well, the further below the full heal you get, the more important that heal becomes. So you can get bigger than 100%, for instance. And so, like, if you're at 1% health, maybe that 25% heal is like a 900% usefulness, and therefore the character is going to heal. So you have to set up the logic for that. We're not going to go through that, but I wanted to tell you kind of the next step if you're trying to get into doing the AIs. And then after that, it's going to be, you're going to have to start to get really, you can either go to neural networks or you can get to something even more sophisticated. You're still going to produce a, how good is this skill? But the neural network would be based on actual outcomes in the past. And you would have to load some of those into the game, and then also just allow them to continue building their neural. Well, you don't have to, but you could allow them to continue to build the neural network as that player plays against them too. That would be a crazy AI. That would be interesting. The other way is you just continue to refine that process of what is most valuable. Okay, probably went into that a little more depth than everybody's looking for. Maybe not. I don't know. But this is what we're going to do for right now. We are just taking the first skill they can use. We are then letting it target. We're taking the action. It breaks out of this loop, and we should have a working where mobs shoot fireballs at us now. So let's just do this. So this, we expect a mob to shoot a fireball right there. It did not. Why did you not shoot a... Oh, I didn't give the mob the fireball. It didn't because I'm dumb. That is why it didn't. So if we go to mage... We don't need the skill buttons. We just need the fireball. Done. Let's try that again. Round 2, fight. All right, let's try it again. I remember that bug too. I fixed this before. So find all references. It's getting a null somewhere. I haven't figured out where the null's coming from, but what I do is just test for the null. Find all references. What did I do? I did something wrong. Okay, find all references. There's two of them. One there, one there. I think it's reset. Told it to figure out where that one was coming from. It didn't. Okay, there we go. What's up more last packets coming in? No, probably is this one, but I already checked there. Oh, where did I do with that? It was maybe in unit last packets right there. So that's where it is. I'm sorry. Should have just tried to remember where it was instead of following it back. But last packet not equal to. Forgot about that bug. I did solve it before. Don't know why I forgot about it. Okay, we would expect him to shoot a fireball at us right now. Boom, boom. Oh, we had a mob underneath. That's a bug too. But they did. Now I expect no fireball shot. Now I'd expect 2 fireball shot. Oh, maybe one more. Yeah, one more turn. Sorry. Okay, it appears to be working. Guys, that is it for this one. I hope you find it helpful. Getting some AI work done. We haven't done that before in our previous tutorials, so we got a little bit more AI work in here. It's a long process developing AI. I wish I could give you a silver bullet for it, but we're going to develop it from this very simple form slowly up through over time, and not in sequential videos necessarily, but slowly over time into a more complex and interesting AI. You know, I started working with some neural networks on some stuff. Maybe I'll share the details of that later, but maybe one day we'll do something crazy like adding neural networks, letting them train, saving those as a base state for the game, and then continuing to let the neural networks train against the user that they actually are playing against, which could be kind of be fun to have an ever smarter AI the longer you play, and then have a button that would reset the neural network back to a base state if we wanted to. That's actually something I've been thinking about for a long time. I don't know that we'll get that far, but that would be kind of cool. All right, guys, if you have gotten this far, please like, subscribe, throw a comment down. It only takes a few seconds. You just got a huge amount of information. I'd really appreciate it if you take that couple seconds and do that for me, as I've spent 30 minutes almost making this video for you guys. So, well, 30 minutes talking and another probably hour on the prompt. So, yeah, thank you guys so much, and I hope you have a good weekend, and I'll see you guys next week. Bye.